I'm Bob Haley. I own Haley Paint. My grandfather started what was Finneran and Haley in 1913. So I've been in the paint business for about 50 years, and you can tell by the look of me what it's done to me. So uh, we were in industrial coatings, made nail coatings, all kinds of. We made paint for DuPont. We made Krylon spray paint for Sherwin-Williams. So we've been involved in all kinds of automotive paints, industrial paints, and our favorite thing is shed builders because they're such a great, nice group of people. So in 2011, we changed our name to just Haley Paint and decided to just focus on shed builders and the portable building industry, which includes cabins. So. Um, I love the second line here. I don't know if any of you are from Lancaster or know Lapp Structures, but that was started by Amy Lapp many years ago. And his statement, which they have on their coffee mugs and everything, is make a good product and treat people right. And in all the corporations I've been around, that's the greatest mission statement I've ever seen. So we got permission from Mike Lapp to steal it for us too, because that's what we want to be all about. We want to make good products and treat everybody right. And what happens is your business just reciprocates from that and just grows and grows as a result of that. So we've been active in the shed business since around 1982 in Lancaster, back when everybody thought Lancaster was the world of sheds. That's really where it kind of started in this country, and then sort of blew up in the South and the rest of the country later than that, with treated buildings and the whole rent-own thing, and which you're all real familiar with. So what we set out to do here at Haley Paint is, I know from my experience in the past, we never wanted to be a one-trick pony and just do paint and that's it and have a limited product line. So we're always trying new stuff. So we wanted to diversify to strengthen ourselves within this industry, but we didn't want to over-diversify. So we thought that equipment is the best way to make us more powerful within the shed business. And all the equipment we manufacture has our products going through it, whether it's spray foam insulation or polyurea, paint, stains, urethanes. So you can go to the next panel. So in all our experience with OEM coatings, OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer, we've really learned everything from our customers. So I put these together, and I got this from an enterprise software company where they want to sell you software that'll actually help you do all this stuff, because I thought it was really good. And number one's really important, which is evaluate your workflow. And I think the key to American manufacturing success is inline manufacturing, which most shed builders do. They start with the floor and the building just goes right down the line. And in inline manufacturing, you want to try to avoid as many workarounds as possible. And as we go through this presentation, you'll see that we're trying to address that, because workarounds, where you have to stop production to paint trim, or you have to stop production for something else and get a fork truck to move things, that's sort of the enemy of efficiency in manufacturing, which really slows your business down. Investing in employee training is, we're all struggling with employees over the past 3-4 years, and I don't know when that's ever going to get better. But one of the things we do when we manufacture equipment is we also install it and we help you service it. We tell you how to operate it, how to clean it, and we reinforce it. And one of the really important things, which is on the first panel, which we'll talk about later if you stop by our booth, is we also have a dealer program, so that if you're getting into spray foam insulation with us, or you're getting into polyurea for floors, we have a whole dealer program where we go out. We have 11 salespeople where we go out to your dealers and teach them how to sell those products. And we have all kinds of nifty sales aids, which we'll show you. So obviously conducting preventive maintenance. One of the things that we set out to do when we hired our engineering team is we want to make really good products that are solid, that'll last for many, many years, that you won't have to replace. They're not cheap, and they don't wear out. A lot of the spray equipment we use in our flat line and our inline systems is the Merker pump by Graco, and that's going to last 30 years. We have them all over Lancaster County that are 30 years old. So keeping your manufacturing plant organized is, I think that's something that most shed builders are really good at, but we want to help you get better at that with equipment. And reducing material waste with the government poking around and not really knowing what they're doing when they go into certain shed builders and ask them how much paint they're spraying, and they have no idea what they're doing. They're just government bureaucrats. But reducing material waste is really important, because even though latex paint, water-based paint, that waste is very innocuous, it's inert as soon as it dries out. Just having a lot of waste around is not good for your business, whether it's wood scraps or anything. So we have systems where you can literally make your waste stream de minimis to almost nothing, where you don't have to wash out spray guns, and that's also a workaround if you think about it. So so we're going to start off with the next. These are our wall mount sprayer systems, which we manufacture and install, and they're really doing well. We're about in our 5th year of it, and I think we've probably installed about 150 of them around the country. So we're going to get up Mike Bond to talk about it. Mike's been with me for over 30 years. You might recognize him, so don't boo him. Come on up, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. Like Bob said, my name is Mike Bond. I've been with the Haley Company for about 32 years. Been in the paint business for 47 years, so I follow Bob's footsteps. We've been around the paint business for a pretty long time, so we've seen a lot of things. We've made mistakes, but we've repaired those mistakes, and we think that we're on the right path to making everything as efficient as possible. Like Bob said, with the inline systems now, this kind of birthed itself from, I was at a shed builder one time, way back in the 80s, in the 90s. And he asked me, is there any way that I can take my pump and do 2 colors with it? So we just kind of scratched our heads and thought, well, sure, we might be able to do that because there's no pressure at the bottom. Yeah, we'd be able to just use plumbing fittings and that type of thing. So we hooked up this rig 2-color system, and it worked. So that was kind of the birth of multi-colors going out of one pump, or what you see there, and what many of you guys have a setup like this, where you have multiple reels, multiple guns, multiple colors, and you're using 1 pump or 2 pumps, 3 maybe, for depending on how many colors you have. So that's kind of how that came about, and we started to refine the system. And if you have a system like this, you know what I'm talking about. We refined it to the point where we have a minimum number of pumps. We have, maximum number of colors going through that pump. Just to start off with some of the bullet points, the reliability of these pumps are just tremendous. A setup like this with these pumps like this are 10 times more reliable. The pumps last longer by doing it something like this. I know a lot of people have used electric pumps. Maybe you still do over the time. We do in certain places. We do use electric pumps. But the reliability over the course of, say, 10, 15 years, you may end up having to replace that pump several times. Is this on? You may have to replace that pump several times, where something like this will last a long time. So when you invest in this type of equipment, you're investing in the long term, not something that you'll use for a couple of years, throw it over the fence and, have to grab another one and buy another one and start over again, basically. So you're looking at long-term reliability with this spray system. Yeah, again, less wear over time, low maintenance cost. These are air powered. They are airless pumps, but they're air powered. These air powered pumps do have a longer lifespan, and one of the reasons is a little bit of technical thing here is that the small electric pumps have a small cylinder, so it has a short stroke. Well, if you're familiar with these pumps, and many of you are, when you run that pump, that cylinder is moving up and down many, many, many times a minute. Where these larger pumps have a longer stroke, so there's less wear on the equipment because that stroke is again, it's a longer stroke, so that thing doesn't cycle as many times. So over the course of 10 years, you're looking at a lot of strokes with these smaller pumps as compared to this system where you have a longer stroke, so you have less wear and tear on the equipment. Saves time. It's very easy to change colors. With this system, you're looking at just basically a few levers. You turn one color off, turn another color on, turn that color off, turn this color on, so you can quickly change colors as opposed to maybe taking the siphon tube out of a bucket and going from bucket to bucket and carrying a bucket over here and that type of thing. So the changing color process has become very easy by doing this. The neat and compact, obviously, we all look for storage space. I mean, you look at a wall and you think, wow, I don't have enough room for this, I don't have enough room for that. This kind of keeps everything in one spot. So you have all your spray equipment in one area, you have all your buckets in one area. You can, we've altered this many times to where we have the pumps and the reels in two different locations so that number one, you don't have the overspray going on your pump equipment and that type of thing. And another thing would be convenience. Wherever your guy's spraying, he can have the spray hoses or tubes, or whatever you want to call it, be directed right to where he wants to spray. You might have a spray booth and that type of thing and have the equipment in some other wall or something. So it is neat, it's compact. It keeps all your paint in one area, so you know exactly which colors are which and that type of thing. And one of the things also, it does reduce waste. You can keep these pumps, I call it hot. You can keep paint in these pumps. Obviously, you want to turn your pressure off just in case you have a hose blow or something, but you want to turn your air compressor off, the air supply to the pump. But you can keep paint in these lines because it is a closed system. You don't have to worry about the paint drying up in the lines. So you can go the next day, turn your air on, and you're ready to go. You're ready to paint. So, and as far as being able to keep paint in the lines, that refers to the daily cleanup and the flushing. It's not really required. So you don't have a lot of waste. And as Bob was saying, every now and then you'll get a government official kind of poking their nose in places, and they want to know what that is and what this is. And you have a bucket of waste there. It kind of raises flags. Not that these guys know what it is, because most of them don't. We've experienced that. But at the same time, just to have something there that raises a flag, you don't want to do that. So with this type of system, you don't really have a lot of flush out. If you're changing colors, you may flush the pump out at some point in time, but you don't have a massive amount of waste sitting around your shop because you can keep the paint in the lines and just switch it over from color to color. By doing that, some guys will just go ahead and switch it over and spray some color out until the new color comes through, or however it works for you. Some guys will spray the whole shed with as they just changed over, and maybe come back around it with a second coat or whatever, and covers that first coat. But so you don't have the waste sitting around, and it's a very efficient system. So I know some of you guys probably have a system like this, and if you do, it's great. If not, stop by and we'll tell you everything about it.
Wait, stay up here.
Okay.
For questions.
Sure.
We're going to have questions at the end. We're going to try to, we have about 45 minutes, so we're going to get through everything and we'll answer questions for you. So the next piece of equipment is called high volume, low pressure. And we engineered this. We've had it out for about 2 years now, and we've sold about 70 of them. More and more portable building owners, manufacturers are making occupied buildings, whether it's cabins, workhouses, offices, garages. So spray foam has gotten bigger in both the north and the south. The south to be able to cool the buildings off and keep moisture out of the bottom of the building. And of course, in the north, keep the building warm and do the same things as moisture. So the high volume, low pressure, our team's going to, a couple more folks from our team are going to talk about it. And once again, this is one of those pieces of equipment that we sell you, we install it, we teach you how to use it, we teach you how, we have maintenance manuals, we have parts manuals on it. And most importantly, we have a dealer program, whether you're selling just off your factory or you have dealer lots, we'll teach your sales force how to sell the product. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark Gerace and Justin Essery, two of our sales folks.
So as Bob said, my name is Mark. This is Justin. A little bit about myself, just like Mike. I mean, I started with Sherwin-Williams. I was with Sherwin-Williams for about 20 years. And over that time, I got to meet Bob. And once I left Sherwin-Williams, I thought, I'm done with paint. But Bob kind of drug me back in. So 15 years later, now I'm with Bob. So I've been in this business for 35 years. So just like Mike, it's, we've kind of seen and done it all. So
My name is Justin Essery. I've been with Haley Paint a little over 5 years now, and learned a lot about paint and a lot about a lot of different things. So it's exciting, and thank you guys for being here. I guess we'll talk a little bit about foam. Let me go ahead and start.
Good.
So a little bit about our high volume, low pressure system is you can apply it inside in your shop. It mixes through a tip rather than a high pressure where it kind of collides and you have to clear your shop out there. So what this allows you to do is you can spray your foam while everyone else is building, painting, doing whatever they want to do. So that's pretty cool. The mobility. So we have these systems on a cart. I think it's a 3x6 aluminum cart with casters. So you can push it around your shop. If you want to spray in one bay, what I like to tell guys is you can just disconnect your nail gun or so, just hook it right up to the system. That guy can spray foam in his booth, disconnect it, push it to another bay. That guy can do the same thing, which is pretty neat. Okay, we already talked about that. So this will allow you also to spray at 67 cents a board foot at 1 inch, which is pretty incredible. So if some of you guys are already hiring out that to be done, you guys know that you do have to clear the shop out. You have to wait a little bit, maybe a week, 2 weeks or more even for them to come do it on their schedule, right? So this will allow you to spray it immediately and put a little bit more money, in your pocket per se. I guess I'll turn the rest over if I left out anything. And also, we will have questions at the end there. So you want to say anything, Mike?
Well, and that, like Justin said, I mean, the reason why we kind of started with this was as we would go around the shed builders, we would see buildings sitting outside, and we'd say, hey, what this building's doing out there, and guys would say, hey, I'm waiting for the foam guy to get here. So we kept thinking, well, hey, we can do this. Why don't we offer something to help you guys be basically more efficient? So now instead of waiting for the guy, you got to call him. I'll be there in a week, or I need you to have 3 or 4 buildings ready. Like Justin said, you're able to do this basically on your time. So gives you a better opportunity to schedule things better. Another, what we decided was HVLP trailer. Essentially, the trailer is basically, like Justin said, it's the same system, just that we customize and make the trailer. So you can mobilize, you can take it mobile, whereas if you have multiple shops, you can drive the trailer to that shop. Everything's self-contained. It comes with a inverter, comes with an air compressor, comes with a mini split system to keep heat or air conditioning in there. So it just gives if you have multiple shops the opportunity that this can travel and you can get to place and make it easier for you. Same thing if you just wanted to keep it at your shop. It's something you can keep outside. You can, when you're ready to use it, You just kind of bring it in, or just run the hose from the lot into the shop. So we just made it basically just another way for you guys, if whatever your situation is, to make it easier for you.
And we do have, in our booth, we have the trailer set up and everything with the mini split in it, toolbox. Swing by the booth, check that out. It's really neat.
Thanks, guys. Stay up. So next is, so this is our latest invention. Like I said, a lot of buildings, more and more shed builders are building cabins, and they're occupied buildings as part of their diversification within the industry. And they're doing a lot of different substrates on those cabins, whether it's D-log or LP lap, or a lot of interior tongue and groove. And we see all this going on. And one of the things I talked about earlier was the great workaround. What's the bottleneck? What is the job that people don't like doing? And in Lancaster County, what we saw was painting trim. Where up there, they paint trim by hand on chicken wire. And down south, they paint the whole shed and then face roll the trim with a 4-inch roller. So it's a little bit of a workaround, and that's when we designed this thing. And we just introduced it yesterday. So I'm going to let Mark Roth and Jack Reisinger, Jack's our engineer, one of our engineers, and they're going to tell you all about it.
Good morning. My name is Mark Roth. I've been in the coating industry for a long time. I've actually been with Haley for 27 years now. So the longevity that kind of you're seeing with all the sales reps is tried and true. It's not our first rodeo, so we've seen a lot of issues out there. And Jack is kind of the creator and mad scientist, if you will, for all the equipment that we've gone over. And Flatline being one of the newest in our arsenal of production equipment, we see in listening to the shed builders, we hear a lot of the needs and what guys need to kind of increase production and increase the value that they can get from their businesses and expediting the flow through. So the fact that it coats all three sides of the trim and siding, one of the benefits of the unit is you can adjust the spray heads, and Jack's taken a lot of the shed guys use the Graco rack systems, the rack 10s with the reverse-clean tips. So this equipment actually has three guns with rack guards and tips, so you can change from all kinds of substrates and change the settings extremely quickly. Cleaning out the tips and changing tips, going from paint to like a 517 tip, going to a urethane or something finer with like a 214. So expediting the process, speed. Changing the fan patterns, as well as going from like a D-log with a stain to something that's going to be a wider, coating up to 16-inch material. So again, all sides can be done with that 16-inch material. Most guys are going to be doing 16 feet of lap siding, D-log siding. The wood, you can do stains with this equipment. And allowing the pre-finishing to go through at 225 feet per minute. So you can adjust it with at 0 to up to 205 linear feet per minute. So this machine can keep up with production. And the guy that's going to be catching the trim coming out the other side, he's got to have 2 cups of coffee in the morning when he's going to be catching that. So he's got to be on his toes. So you can basically rack and stack trim that's coming out of that. And we're big fans of there's no real drying system on this equipment, but as it's coming out, you can rack it, stack it, and then we're big fans of forced air. So you can get forced air on those individual racking systems and dry that coating. And we're still fans of forced air. Still forces that moisture out of that film build. So it dries the coating at a much extremely faster rate. So obviously it's going to speed up your production. It's going to coat the trim. There's no need for face rolling. In my opinion, trim that's actually pre-finished gives you a much cleaner look. Your edges are coated. And a lot of guys, they'll pre-finish their trim in bulk, and then they'll tack it up on their buildings and then just face roll it later or brush it later just to adjust the nail heads. It can be tied to your existing wall-mounted systems, like the guys were talking about having a lower manifold and an upper manifold. On those systems, you can actually put a upper manifold right there. So all your 12, if you have a 12-color inline, you can have that going right into the system. So adjusting the colors, again, expediting the process, speeding up the time to change colors. The overspray is very limited. We have a bucket containment system, so you're actually catching a lot of the material that's being sprayed in a downdraft system. So you have a fan that's sucking everything out there, going through a filter. But prior to the filter, there's a 5-gallon bucket in there, which is catching all your retain and all your coating that's being oversprayed down there. So you can actually pull that out, reuse it, efficiency, which creates a lot of the waste, less waste going in there, so you can keep that job rolling. And of course, no overspray, because the fan is being sucked down there. What's not being caught in the bucket is going into a filtration system, and then it's being evacuated through the back, through the top into your ceilings. So again, no need for face rolling. So if I'm missing anything, again, Jack's the engineer that designed the equipment. He can answer the more detailed, specific questions.